What is up, everyone? This video, I want to talk about the thing that I think gets slept on probably the most, and that's the economics of it all when it comes to, let's say, alternatives. And I'm not just speaking on parallel economy as a concept, which is part of it, of course. That's what really we're highlighting here. But oftentimes we just get to talking about the content. It's always the content, the content. And it's that, hey, this person provides something, or these groups of people were providing something. It is no longer up to par. They do things that are questionable, the cancellations, the trying to punish political enemies that are among the ranks, that type of stuff. And that is certainly a part of it. But let's not only focus on what it is that you see. So whether it be a project like the Rippaverse, as far as the book, so you see ISOM 1. That's part of it, but that's not the only thing. The other thing that I think should be mentioned that a lot of people sleep on, right, is the ability to be able to, when you do this or you're part of this project, to be able to upgrade in terms of things that the other guys and the established guys do that either don't make sense or are just bad, right? And I give you an example of this. Well, distribution made absolutely no sense to me with the comic book industry. For you guys that don't know, well, it was a thing that was prior to recently. It was one company that did everybody's distribution. Every comic book company's distribution, for the most part, was done by Diamond. Okay, meaning that Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image, all these guys, boom, they would all go through, and some of them still do, Diamond. And dates, basically, it's like you're the third or fourth person to get the book after, if you buy it, let's say, from the comic book shop. Okay, what that means, they sell, a company, publisher, printers, they publish, print, sell it to and of course that's the whole attraction, because they have this like hub where everybody exists. You have the retailers, as well as the like the actual people that are like the printers and the people that are publishing and all that. So you can see and have pre-orders, like Diamond previews and all that, and that's the whole attraction. But it's then sold to the distributor, who then sells it to the retailers. Essentially how it works. And the fact that it was done that way and done through one company made no sense. I'm like, these guys got all this money. Why aren't they just doing it themselves? Right? We have all these questionable metrics that we use to try to figure out how many sales don't make sense. Nobody's public with their numbers. That's another thing. The transparency just doesn't exist really among the comic book guys. When it comes to sales, it's just, Diamond would provide their sales numbers to shops, but that was it. You have some maybe book scans that would happen every now and then that still do. They try to utilize that, but that's not really all that accurate. It's not like the Marvel themselves are telling you how many they printed and sold, because they're not selling directly to the customer. They're selling direct, or rather their customer is the distributor, and then that being the retailer. So we updated that model with the Rippaverse. And I'm not saying we're the first guys to distribute our own thing. I'm saying that in mass, to the quantity that we've shipped, we are one of the few guys that are doing it themselves, when you consider how many books and stuff. And, that's another side of our business, is the distribution. So not only just in terms of the creative space, which is in printing, obviously, it's not just that we do. We also distribute our own work. So that was a market that I identified that didn't make sense to me, and I wanted to correct it. And I think more people should certainly be able to do this and try to sell directly to customers. Doesn't mean that you can leave retailers out, or you should leave retailers out. If they want to get in, they certainly can. But in this day and age with the internet, all that, there's giving us some opportunities that we didn't have before. However, the old companies of old, are still operating on a very old, archaic model, where they think just because a bookstore has their book, they equal that as success. This also, it goes with, like, how you pay your people. You know what I mean? Like, I pay my people very competitively. All the creative guys get paid very competitively. I pay them on time. We've covered many times the issues that the big guys have when it comes to paying their people and not paying them on time. There's been these big layovers and stuff after completing these contracts. That was another thing. But even in just having kind of and maybe this is the more important thing, in doing all of this, you get to facilitate a business that allows workers to do their best work. It's a business at the end of the day, make no mistake. So this isn't a charity. You're not doing this to be charitable per se. There's a job to be done, and you want people that are going to be filling those roles that are going to actually do their job, of course. However, when people are able to be comfortable and be themselves, they can do their best work because they're in their best mind state, right? What we have now really is, you can look at Hollywood, you can look at the mainstream. Everybody's holding basically ideological guns to each other in like a Mexican standoff where everybody's waiting to cancel each other. And the minute you slip up, you know you are out of there. So everybody's walking on eggshells. People are afraid to speak their minds. People are having to be people that they're not for the sake of keeping their jobs. And that's not conducive, let's say, to being your best, especially creatively. I use this as a previous example. When one of these idiots came after these freaking furries, came out after my social media manager, for the Riververse, an actual employee of the Riververse, and Andrew, because of his position with the Hogwarts Legacy thing and all that. They came after the company. That's what these weirdos often do, is they'll try to go after people's jobs and say, oh, well, look at what this person said, and you should do something about it. Why are you hiring this type of person? They'll call you all kinds of names and say that you're associated with these evil things. That's what they're so used to doing. And to be fair, they've gotten their way. This is what these companies have allowed to happen, because they've bent the knee. They have bent and broke for these people, right? Like, oh, we don't want to be identified as that, so we let these guys go. And then they'll come out with all these public statements as to why they actually did it. We see what happened, Colin, over there at Limited Run Games. How if this person, a person that wasn't working within the company, came for the job and she got fired for it, or the contract was ended or terminated or whatever you want to call it. Guys came after my people, after Andrew, at in the Riververse, not understanding really what it was or anything. It was that, hey, this is guy says this is his job. Hey, your guy, creative manager, social media manager, saying this. I'm the owner, obviously. So what do I tell them to do? Go fuck themselves. Essentially, that's what I tell them to go do. We're not doing nothing. He's not getting fired. And I go to bat for my guys. They do good work for me. They take care of me. I make sure that they're taken care of, not just financially. But again, I want them to be able to do the best work they can. And if they're in a free mind state where they feel like they can just be themselves, right? Not doing anything just absolutely outlandish, right? Or criminal. Obviously, I wouldn't be bringing people on that's doing stuff like that. But just to be themselves, be who they are, be it whatever it is, socially, politically, whatever. As long as they aren't harming people, let them do what they want to do, okay? And if you that is a part of that's probably most important with this whole, we talk about parallel economy. If we're to pay more than just lip service to this as a concept, that I think people need to focus a lot on. When you are just putting yourself in a position to even be able to employ people, it almost acts as a safe haven for folks to do good work. There's a lot of very creative people that are in all these various industries that are sitting here having to feel like they're being muzzled and they're being silenced, and they can't do their best work because of it. Hell, I think that's partially why a lot of the quality suffers. But look at it from that perspective and how important this actually is. Okay. Yeah, the content we want, you see people run things into the ground and you want to be able to present an alternative. Absolutely. But that ultimate alternative can also be in a sense of employment. And it inevitably is. It's in who creates that content. You can correct so many things. And it's not just with that. Hell, even just technology wise, there are things that the mainstream or the established channels have been doing that are old, broken, and archaic. And the only reason everybody's doing it is because everybody has long been doing it. and it hasn't updated their model. And that's an advantage. It can be seen as an advantage for you that can help your content be better. The creative stuff that you're doing, it can help it be a better thing. You can help your products be better and also help you facilitate a better workplace in terms of its environment. Wherever you're viewing the content, I appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, you may be interested in my comic book company, Rippaverse Comics. Our first book and campaign, ISOM #1, brought in $3.7 million with tens of thousands of satisfied customers. Visit Rippaverse.com to check out our store and stay up to date with the latest campaigns from one of the hottest new comic book companies. Also, my first big step towards a parallel economy was the development of my personal website, ericdjuly.com. This entirely replaced my Patreon. Now, if you enjoy this content, please consider becoming a member over at the website. We have an ever-expanding list of perks for various membership tiers, a forum, and a phone app. Some of these perks will even benefit you if you're fans of the Rippaverse. Anyway, I appreciate you so much for being a supporter and or customer. I even got a little love for my haters.